Hi everyone, welcome to my community on Afrocentric Television Channel 15.8, a show that revolves around the African community in Texas and by extension, the United States. My name is Kola.
Hi, and I'm Ada, and welcome to our show. On today's episode, we will be focusing on women's health. Being that this is International Women's Month, we will be focusing on women's health today and actually speaking with a special guest a little later on.
Yes, our special guest will be
Dr. Jamila
Azizat Okpe. She'll be joining us. And also stay tuned for other segments that we have for you. We have the fashion and beauty, health segment, sports, entertainment, and of course, the special feature featuring Dr. Okpe. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
See you soon.
Thanks, Kola and Ada. Hey guys, Oge here again. Welcome back to the fashion and beauty segment of the show. Today we are still on the notion of women. We are talking about women. Last week it was International Women's Day, and we're still on the topic about women. So today I wanted to focus on, because of course I'm based in Houston, Texas, I wanted to talk more about a lot of women, not a lot, but some women in the Houston community that I feel as though have kind of paved their own way and have made their own mark in the city. They are go-getters. They literally have created their own avenue for themselves, whether it be in the makeup industry, whether it be in the fashion industry. They're doing amazing things, and I wanted to shed light on these women because these women are African, they're beautiful, black, proud, and they love what they do. And I wanted to give them this opportunity to kind of shed light on their brand and what they're doing, you know, in servicing our people here and servicing the women here as well. So first of all, we're going to talk makeup. So as far as makeup artist goes, the first person that I have on the list, her name is Ife. Her name on Instagram, it should be Ife Bob. I'm going to have the description below, and we'll be sure to. You guys can always follow her on social media, on her Instagram platform, and I believe she has I want to say she has a tutorial coming up pretty soon. I'll also put details about that so you guys can go support. She's basically just teaching women how to do makeup. You know, a lot of popular makeup artists, they do these events where they teach women how to do their makeup, and she's one of ours, and she is creating her own lane, and she's creating something that I think is pretty amazing, and I wanted to shed light on it and support her, and you all should go support her as well if you are in the Houston area. Buy tickets, go see it, learn how to do makeup, learn how to do foundation, the blending, the contour, the blushes, like all of that she's going to be teaching. Second is a young lady that I just met. I think she's beautiful. She's amazing. She's also a makeup artist. Her name is Rose. And I think her social media handle should be Rose Gold Houston, Texas. I mean, Rose Gold HTX. Like I said, I'll have the description of all these ladies' Instagram handles below, and you all can follow them. Rose is amazing. She's a makeup artist. She's a self-taught makeup artist. And I think what she's doing, like I said, what these ladies are doing is really amazing. So go support, follow her. Another lady that I have on the list is Megan. Megan is, I met Megan a few years ago. She's amazing. It's so crazy. I remember we had a conversation about her wanting to start her lash line, and then next thing I know, like, she became a makeup artist, and she is literally phenomenal. She works, I want to say, at Color du Jour Studios, which is also one of the popular studios here in Houston as well. So her name on Instagram is Makeup by Megan. She's amazing. All these women, like I said, are amazing. So go follow her and support her business and her services. The last person that I have on, Ruth is amazing. She is what you would call your natural hairstylist. Like, she basically can do anything from like the braiding, sew-ins, wigs. I mean, guys, her wigs are actually like amazing. Like, they're like next level. You know, she doesn't get, I don't want to say that she doesn't get the attention, but we need to shed more light for her because she is truly amazing at her craft. And like I said, I wanted to give this platform to support these women, and you all can know about them and go see, and then tell somebody, tell the next person to go support them. Her name on Instagram is Stacy Omo Yoruba. course, self-explanatory. She's Nigerian and a Yoruba girl. So go support, support, support. So that's it for the makeup dolls that I just listed. For the fashion side of it, everything, I have two girls that live in Houston. One, she just created her own boutique. It's online. It's called Shop Minka. I think it's pretty amazing. You guys have to follow her. Like she's literally, like I said, creating her own avenue. I think her pieces are really dope. They're affordable, they're sexy, they're classy, they're casual. Like, you know, you get everything in Shop Minka. And Yinka is her name. She is the creator of the brand. You guys should go follow her business page. I think it's shop.minka on Instagram. And the last person that I have, last but not least, person that I have for the fashion, as a fashion designer that I want to say has created her own way for the most part. I've been knowing Agatha for years. We've met in passing. I know Agatha for years. And Agatha, I want to say, is amazing. She started off as a blogger, like blogspot.com. And if you know anything about me, I used to be a blogger, well, still am, but you know, back in the day, we had the blogspot.com going, and she was also on there. She was booming at the time, you know, and still booming until today. She started off basically just selling her closet, like selling clothes that were in her closet and making money from there. And then she grew, and then she created her own brand called Flair. Flair is basically where you get your African prints, and she designs these clothes and then she sells them. And I've modeled for her once before, and I think her brand is really amazing, and it's also affordable, so you guys have to go support. And she's literally amazing at what she does. So that's one person that you have to know about. Like, these are people that I feel like you have to know. Like, if you're in Houston and you're into beauty and fashion like me, like, you need to know these people. These are people that you need to follow on social media, and people that you obviously need to, like, you need to have their services done, like, seriously. As far as beauty goes, there is a page on Instagram that I came across, I want to say a few weeks ago, and if I'm not mistaken, she is Nigerian, and she has to be Igbo as well, because the name of her company is Shop Oge's. Hey, Oge. So the name of the company is Shop Oge. She basically is handmade. She's based out in Los Angeles, and she makes beauty creams. She makes body creams, face creams, like body scrubs, and all these products are literally handmade. I think it's pretty amazing, and I think it's super, super cool. The packaging is so cute. So I wanted to shed light on her as well, so people can kind of know about it and go support her. Last but not least, so basically, those are all the people that I wanted to talk about that are Houston based. These are women that live in Houston, Texas, that are grinding, making a name for themselves. And I just wanted to shed light on them and to let them know, like, you know, girl, I see you. I see the hustle, and we see you, and the community sees you, and we adore what you're doing, and we respect your grind, and we wish you all the best. And this is just basically just shedding light and letting people know more about you and your product and services that you offer. Last but not least, if anyone knows, I literally love Kimora Lee Simmons. Like, who doesn't love Kimora Lee Simmons? And if you don't even know who I'm talking about, I know you know about Baby Phat, because Baby Phat, guys, is coming back. Literally, Kimora Lee Simmons has bought her brand back, and she is coming back with a bang. I'm so excited, because Baby Phat probably was like, when we were younger, that was what we all knew, like the jeans. Like, I think I have a girlfriend that literally has like the Baby Phat like tattoo, like, you know, like it was that much of a big deal. But Baby Phat is back, so I'm actually looking forward to what Kimora Lee Simmons has for the brand and how she's going to come back and take over. People are already saying that she's going to knock Fashion Nova out of the park with her comeback with the jeans. So we don't know. Let's see what she does with it, and super, super, super excited about that. So that pretty much wraps up my episode for the beauty and the fashion segment. Like I said, these are people that I want us to support, that I feel for, you should know about, and yeah, follow them, check out their services. Trust me, I will not steer you wrong. Again, thank you for watching. This is Oge, and have a good one.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of My Community on Afrocentric TV channel 15.8. It's me, Fauzi Aminu, and I'm here with your entertainment as per usual. And today we're doing things a little bit different. I'm not dropping tea, and I'm just recognizing a few of my favorite women from the Houston, Texas area because it is International Women's Day. Well, it was International Women's Day, but we're still in the spirit, so here we go. First off, I'd like to recognize one of my personal favorites, Agatha Ashe. She is a personal and fashion and lifestyle blogger at Irony of Ashe, and also the founder of Flair, which is a luxury fashion brand. Next off, I would like to recognize Choma Dure of Dure Events. She is a wedding and events planner, and yeah, she's just like someone you really should go check out if you haven't already checked her out. Next up, I'd like to recognize Bukola Are of a Kind Creatives and also founder of HVS Beauty / HVS Cares. Those are my three women that I'd like to recognize this month. Next up, I'd like to give you guys some upcoming events that you should be wary about. First up is the 5th annual HVS Cares Friends of Africa charity event, which is to celebrate and support Kids Clean Club and Scholar X, which will be taking place on March 23rd here in Houston, Texas. There will be a special performance by Aramide, and all the food will be prepared by the Toby Smith. That's right, the Toby Smith. So if you're not there, I don't know where you are. Next up, I'd like to talk about the Houston Playlist event on March 30th. This is an event curated for the creatives and by the creatives, where everybody comes by together and showcase their talents. If you have not gotten tickets, or if you'd like to find out more information, you can find out more on HoustonPlaylist.com. And the Houston Playlist will take place on March 30 at the Firehouse Saloon. Next up is, this one is in Lagos. I only like it because it's an all-female DJ set and it's International Women's Day. So this event is actually called Mainland Block Party. It's on the 31st of March, and it is, like I said, an all-female DJ set inspired by International Women's Day. So if you're not there and you're in Lagos, well, you're playing yourself. That is all the entertainment I have for you today. Catch me next week on My Community, and yeah.
Welcome to the sports segment on My Community with yours truly, Bayonle Arashi. Hope you've been enjoying the show so far with Kola and Ada. Last week was the International Women's Day, Friday, March 8th. The women in the entire world were celebrated. And of course, on this segment today, I've also decided to celebrate women that have done so well in the sporting world. One of them, of course, is a Houston resident, but born in Columbus, Ohio, Simone Biles. In the past 12 months, Simone Biles has gone from being the greatest gymnast in the world to a symbol of resilience and mental toughness. We all know she did that great feat at the Rio Olympics, winning 4 gold medals for herself and 1 bronze, bringing her to the limelight of the entire world. The 4 feet 8 inches athlete, of course, last week took 2 years off the sport of gymnastics because of so many distractions for her, but of course she came back during last week US Classics thanks to the highest score ever recorded there by Simone Biles. She then came first in every event across the 2 days event of that competition at the US National Championship. But what made that event even more special was her message there about that is just above and beyond the sporting world. Biles wore a teal, the designated color, to represent the survivors of sexual abuse. 7 months earlier, she had spoken publicly for the first time about being sexually abused by the former USA gymnastic doctor, Larry Nassar. You remember Larry Nassar? He was sentenced late last year, I guess, for his many misbehavior with young girls that was practicing, that were using their talent to bring honors to the United States of America. Another great athlete that we're celebrating on the show today is Naomi Osaka. The 21-year-old Naomi Osaka in March came came to her real breakthrough, of course, performance as she won the India Wells, perhaps the biggest tournament on the women's tour after any Grand Slam event. A week later, this same Naomi Osaka faced her childhood hero, who else, of course, it is none than the greatest, of course, Serena Williams, the queen of court. And of course, Naomi Osaka has never looked back since then. Of course, finally, on this International Women's Day celebration, there was a great message from Serena Williams herself last week, talking about women empowerment, empowering women that are working mothers in the sporting world. That they are not just going to be housewives, they are not just supporters, they are not just leaders. They also need to be mentored, they need to be supported. And of course, kudos to that queen of tennis court for coming out to speak for the people in her group. Exactly there. Very best wishes going to Serena Williams on this show. Of course, I move quickly now to football and call it soccer in this part of the world. Manchester United first Premier League loss was recorded this past weekend. Of course, they lost to Arsenal Football Club 2-0. That is about the first defeat for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he said it himself in his word. He said he felt that was the lowest point in his career. Of course, Solskjaer already forgot that he was actually coaching a very small club in Norway before he was called to Manchester United. Don't take it hard on yourself, coach. That was just one of those things that happens in the game. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has won 10 straight games for Manchester United. That is not a bad feat at all. Of course, the biggest one for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was him traveling to the Parc des Princes in PSG, defeating them by 3-1 after they had already lost 2-0 at Old Trafford in the UEFA Champions League round of 16. And of course, we all know that now Manchester United, Ajax Football Club, FC Porto of Portugal, Tottenham Hotspur, they confirmed their spot last weekend in the UEFA Champions League last 8. And you know which the result that was most surprising, of course, among all of them was that one between Ajax Amsterdam and of course Real Madrid Football Club. They defeated Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu by 4-1 on that day. Remember, I mentioned it on the show last week that something miraculous might just happen in that game. But the one that shocked me the most was that victory of Manchester United against PSG. And I said it here and I'm repeating it again, that for that defeat against PSG has not shown any seriousness even with that equipment, with Neymar, with Cavani, with the Maria, with all the top players they have in that club. But of course, this past week also, we also confirmed the other 4 teams that joined those 4 in the last group, in the last 8 of the UEFA Champions League. And of course, we'll show you some highlights of those teams that moved up alongside the 4 that qualified the upper week. Of course, I'm going to end this week's segment on a very sad note. Of course, last week we lost 157 souls, 157 of them in the Ethiopian airline crash. The flight was traveling from Addis Ababa to Nairobi, Kenya. And of course, just 6 minutes after the flight took off, the flight disappeared from radar. And of course, we lost one of our own in the sporting world in that flight as well. Former Kenyan Football FA chairman, Mr. Hussein Swale, was coming from Egypt, where he had gone to be a match commissioner for a CAF Champions League game between in Alexandria, Egypt. Of course, we lost that great sports executive in that crash, and many great people that were lost in that crash. Of course, from here on this show and on behalf of every one of us here at Afrocentric television station, we wish all the families I hope there's no word for it, there's no word to explain it. 157 souls lost in that. We wish them to be really come back, to be comforted, and of course the best from here. My name is Bayonle Arashi. I'll see you guys next week, God willing. Bye bye now.
All right, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that last segment. As you can see, we do have a special guest with us today. Welcome to the show, Dr. Azizat Okwe.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Doing good?
Yes.
So, Dr. Okwe, you are a family medicine doctor? Family practice, right?
Correct.
Okay, nice.
So, remember this past week has been the women's awareness or something like that.
International
Women's
Day falls
Day.
in this month. Yes.
And then this month of March is colon cancer awareness month,
As
correct?
well, right.
So we are bringing in our doctor to help us shed more light on women's health.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show, Doc.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Well, do you mind telling us a little bit about you, Dr. Okwe? A little bit about your practice. How long have you been in the industry? And what are some health issues, especially pertaining to women, that you have dealt with or come across a lot lately? I know as Africans, one of the very common things that I have noticed even in people around me in my personal life have been women with a lot of fibroids and cysts and things like that, especially for African women. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I'm Dr. Opie. I'm a family medicine practitioner. I actually do outpatient clinic only, and I practice at Methodist in Sugar Land. Being in the industry would be like years now, because I was initially a pediatric nurse for a few years before going back to medical school and residency, the whole 9 yards. So I lost count. But that
So
being
you're very
said,
seasoned then.
I can say so.
Yeah,
I can say so.
Right.
I can say so. But so I guess we can start just generally women's health, right?
Correct.
Things that we as women should be cognizant of as far as what is different that men don't have to worry about. First to be
Especially in African women.
Correct. So we'll just if you don't mind, start generally and then kind of tailor it to African women.
Absolutely, however you want to do this.
Yeah, I mean, women is women.
Right.
And so I think first of all, the most common one that most women know about, that we all know about, will be breast cancer. Right. Being Africans, we have this belief that, oh, it's not in my family, it doesn't happen to me, and so we don't really want to think about it or talk about it. But I think in the bare minimum for women, be aware that there are very few cancers that we can actually prevent.
Okay.
Meaning we do have tools to catch them at an early stage, breast cancer being one. And like everybody knows, the mammogram. It's been a blessing to the industry. We've been able to catch a lot of cancers at pre-cancerous stages and what have you. It can be bothersome for some people because like every year I have to get a mammogram.
Right.
But if you can prevent it, why wouldn't you, right?
Prevention is way better than cure anyway.
Right.
Exactly.
And I heard they're pretty painful.
No, I wouldn't use the word painful. I'll use the word uncomfortable.
Okay, so uncomfortable.
okay.
Exactly. But I mean, I always tell people, would you rather that few minutes of having your x-ray of your breast, which is basically what it is, and it's getting better. Now we have 3D, it's less pressure, or would you rather go and not know, and heaven forbid you have to lose your breast?
Right.
Go through
Makes sense.
chemo. So, I mean, it's just once a year, and I mean, depending on what organization you ask, some people are actually given a 2-year ticket to go before the next mammogram. You can have a 2-year break, but most practitioners are still doing annually. So just FYI.
Okay.
So that's breast
that's
cancer in the nutshell.
What are the things to look out for, or how can you tell that you're developing any of these things? You know, I know it's not feasible to the bare eyes to see that, oh, I think I'm growing cancer within me. How can you detect is it because the test takes a year long before you go for the next one?
Correct.
What if something happens within between that time? What are the things to look out for?
Correct. Good question. Because I always try to preach this to my female patients too. There is something called clinical breast exam. which is what your doctor does when you go for an annual. They actually check your breast and make sure there is no lump, there is palpable. Now, you can also do self-breast exams, which you try to preach to women to do at least the bare minimum once a month. You know, pick a date. Some people say around or after your period, because during your period your breast might be a little tender, so people don't want to do it. All you have to do is be in the shower. While you shower, it's just smoother when you're in water, right? And basically repeat what your doctor is doing at the clinical breast exam and check for lumps yourself. I'll tell you this, most lumps are actually caught by patients more than your practitioner would, because it's your body. If you forget to go for your annual this year, you still have your body to you, right? Your practitioner doesn't have that body. So try and make it a habit to do self-breast exams. And if you feel something is odd, go ahead and, you know, get a clinical breast exam done.
Speaking of that, what do you say to some women who have fibrocystic breasts? So their breasts are very lumpy.
Yes.
How do they know, or how can they detect the difference between the normal feel of their breast and if they develop the lump?
That's an awesome question. So women with fibrocystic breasts usually have painful breasts,
right,
as well. The thing is, the more you get to do the self-exams, the more you get to know your body, the more you get to know your breast. It can be difficult, even when you do a mammogram. If you ever read your report, it will be, you know, written in small letters or whatever that the breast is, you know, fibrocystic. Very easy to miss small tumors, but not big tumors.
Right.
The other thing is, while you're doing the exam, you notice that the fibrocysts are usually regular. They're pretty much, you can tell them from, usually tumors are a different shape. It feels harder.
Right.
The fibrocystic breast usually is rubbery.
Right.
So when you're rubbing over it, it's like a bit mobile and stuff like that. So the more you're used to doing your breast exams, the easier it will be for you to catch something that's not that's different.
So
exactly.
definitely self-breast exams are very, very important.
Yes, ma'am.
Very important.
More so for women that are younger than 40,
Right.
because we technically don't start doing mammograms until 40, except you have a family history or of, you know, having breast cancer at a young age and stuff like that, which is the reason why we always say at least have a primary practitioner. People always say, I'm never sick, I'm a well person, but these are the information that, you know, you discuss with them. Oh, my mom had breast cancer at 42, when should I start checking?
Right. And truly, as Africans, we tend to kind of push everything to the side. Like, oh, you have just antibiotics, drink
self-medication.
Yeah, we self-medicate.
Yeah.
You know, no one wants to. You like, when you think about the money you're going to spend going to the doctor, time. You're like, I can't.
That's
take
why
time
it's
off
always
work.
good to have insurance, right?
Yeah.
No, but even still, we just believe you drink enough water, you will be fine. Just, you have a headache, go drink water. Every little thing, you pray about it, you drink water, you cast it out of your system, and you keep on moving.
So, other than the mammogram or self-examinations, are there other screening tools?
I wouldn't say screening tools per se. The mammogram is our primary screening tool. If you don't have, like I said, family history, which is something that's individualized to talk to your doctor about, which can also be, what's the history of ovarian cancer in your family? What's the history of breast cancer? So that would maybe change your screening. But for the general population, mammogram is our screening tool. I think more what you're probably trying to ask me are signs that a woman can pick up by herself, even if usually they're not in the early stage per se. Like I said, everyone's breast cancer is different. There are different types of breast cancer. But things to look out for, a woman always wants to know the shape of her breast. Asymmetry is can be a sign of malignancy. Granted, most times one breast would be a bit bigger than the other, kind of like how some people have one leg bigger than the other.
Right.
Like I do.
Exactly. So you were 9.5 here, you were 10 here, you already know your leg. So if you were used to looking at your breast during your monthly exam, okay, this one is slightly bigger. But if there's a difference, a very visible difference, that's a sign. any form of retraction, meaning, and usually when you do your breast exam, you want to make sure you put your hand on your waist. That way you're spreading out the breast tissue. You want to put your hands up, not like you're getting arrested, but you know, and then behind your head. All that is like moving your breast tissue. If you notice there's a part of your breast that is not moving with those motion, that's something that, you know, can be alarming too, because that's tumor would do that. It would retract, what we call retraction. Any changes in the skin of your breast,
Like color.
like color, exactly, like looking like you have acne, like on one area. There's a particular type of breast cancer. It's infiltrating, meaning it goes like this. That tends to do a lot of what we call the Puder orange. It looks like an orange skin. You know how orange skin looks?
Since you're talking about that, can you tell us more about the symptoms? You know, things to look out for.
So those are the things that you're looking
yeah.
out for. The retraction,
Right.
any nipple discharge. If you're not lactating, is not normal. Especially if it's unilateral, meaning one breast.
Right.
Nipple discharge, nipple, like your nipple is normally retracted and it's going inwards.
Okay.
That's a bad sign. You have any change in the skin itself, any retraction, any asymmetry, those are the things that you look for. And like I said, usually when you're at the precancerous stage, those things don't really appear. And that's where the mammogram helps us pick up precancerous.
I see.
I noticed you said some things about fibroids earlier, and we were talking about breasts, right? I know I have a few doctor friends, if not a lot, but I know most of the time it's usually in the lower abdomen. Is that, what kind of fibroid is that one? I mean, I don't know. Is it a cyst or, you know, I don't know, but I just...
Okay, so I think you were talking about when Ada said fibrocystic breast.
Right.
So those are the tissues of the breast, like breast tissue. So yeah, I mean, we can move down because, you know, these are the parts that we have that men don't have. No.
That's okay. I mean, we're learning. I mean, we're educating our audience, right? So, I mean, once you observe something, and forgive me, I'm not a medical practitioner, right? So, it's always good to learn, especially we have children that are coming of age.
Yes.
And then, you know, we have our wives, our mothers, you know. At the end of the day, they become a liability on us if they're not taken care of. So, yeah, it's best we just address all of these things.
So we'll kind of move to the pelvic area now, right? What do we have in the pelvis? We have the uterus, which Nigerians call the womb. We have the fallopian tubes, which is what connect our uterus to our ovaries. What do we call ovaries in Nigeria? I think just ovaries, right?
Just ovaries.
Yeah, I think uterus is just what we call womb.
Okay, yeah.
And then, even more importantly,
and that's important, you know, forgive me, that's very, very important, because a lot of times there are some terminologies, I would say, I mean, maybe technical terms that you guys use, or medical terms that you guys use, that we're not very conversant with in Africa.
Right.
Like we call hood, bonnet, something we call trunk boots. Things like that. So please, whenever you're, you know, talking about things like this, always trying to bring us back home.
Oh yeah,
please.
I grew up in Nigeria, so I
speak
speak Nigerian.
Thank you. Well, please go ahead.
I think more importantly, what a lot of people don't realize is at the entrance of your womb, there is also a very important, I don't want to call it organ because it's not a full organ, but anyways, the entrance itself is where we have the cervix. Serves a lot of function, right? So, I don't know, we can go up. Usually we don't, it's very minimal having vaginal like cancer and stuff. It's not really, you know, out there. But cervical cancer. And the reason I want to speak about cervical cancer is just like breast cancer, we have a way to prevent cervical cancer, and we have a way to catch cervical cancer early,
At the early
right?
stage.
I know Africans, I get this all the time in my clinic, African parents don't want to vaccinate their kids for cervical cancer because they think it's going to make them more promiscuous. Yes, I get this all the time.
And that's a myth, right?
My daughter is not having sex. I get it. I get your daughter's not having sex. But the only reason why she's getting those vaccines so young, because now we're able to start at 9. Prior to that, we were starting at 12. Is so we can get her body ready, because HPV, which is the virus that causes cervical cancer, is very prevalent. So yes, your daughter might not be having sex until she gets married. You don't know who she's going to marry. You don't know if she's ever going to get HPV. So the same way we're vaccinating you for the measles, mumps, and rubella, we're not saying you're going to go.
Right.
Exactly. But we're trying to prevent you, and we're trying to do what we call herd immunity. If we are able to vaccinate a lot of people, then the probability that we will be maybe, hopefully someday, eradicate cervical cancer is higher.
That's
And
a good way to bring them in.
Yeah.
You know, let them understand that the same way we, you know, vaccinate you with this, and that is the same, that's what we're trying to do with your children or your child, because they always think, oh, well, African women, we can be very protective. My daughter is not having sex, so no, why would you want to, you know? But I guess you have something to say. I apologize.
No, that's okay. I was just thinking, and correct me if I'm wrong, the vaccination for HPV is also given to male
Correct.
kids as well, right?
Correct.
So it prevents them from spreading it to the females as well.
Correct.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, we're learning
I do
something.
my research.
Ooh,
Well, you
look
go,
at
girl.
her.
That- if I may ask, though, that's HPV is an acronym for.
Human papilloma virus.
Oh, that's the papilloma thing.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And there are several types of human papillomavirus, like numerous. But we try to vaccinate against what we call the high-risk HPV, which is what causes cervical cancer. So that's what we call like primary prevention. You vaccinate, right? And then we also have screening tools for cervical cancer. So in the past, it used to be, okay, you don't have to screen until you become sexually active.
Right.
Which was the norm. But now we're realizing, well, not everyone's going to tell you they're sexually active, and there are other things that can, you know, introduce them to HPV early. So now the rule is at 21, whether or not you're sexually active, or you get it before 21 if you become sexually active. Prior to 21. Otherwise, by 21, you want to start your screening.
And this is, you're talking about getting pap smear.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Talking about the PAP, the dreaded PAP.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
The dreaded. But I have good news for you.
Okay.
So in the past,
It's not good news. And
It
I
is.
feel like I know what you're about to say.
it is good news. It is good news. I think it's good news.
I love
I
to
just
hear.
I found this out this year. And so tell me if this is what it is.
Yeah.
They have now started this new thing where if you have not had any abnormal cell growth or anything like that in the past and you've had normal PAPs, you no longer have to do them every year.
Correct.
Now they're doing, what, 3
3 years,
in
correct.
between. I'm not a fan of that.
Well, hey, we're going to take this back to what I said in the beginning about breast cancer, right? I'm not a fan of the smacking my breast into x-rays. It's
Then
not fun.
Now we have
Right.
3Ds and
Exactly. I'm not a fan of having someone else go down there. Who's a fan of cancer?
Right.
Right? A lot of people would pray that the form of cancer they have had a screening tool. So this is one cancer that we do have a screening tool for. And I love PAPs because they catch the cell at the barest minimum.
Yeah.
This is not even a matter of, oh, the x-ray missed it. This is a matter of a pathologist actually looking in there. And cells, it's not usually one is like bad.
Right.
You have numerous, so it's easy to catch. And you're like right on the money. See, I love educated clients. Love them. So you no longer have to do your PAPs every
See,
year. You no
educated.
longer have. So if you're between the ages of 21 to 30, the young people, we usually screen them every 3 years. By the time you are 30, once you hit 30, we start to actually screen for the HPV for the HPV virus itself during your PAP.
Okay.
Some practitioners are not comfortable with it yet because if you are a negative cell and negative HPV, you can actually go as long as 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Now, some organizations are not here with the 5. They're like, it's too long.
Right.
Let's do the 3. So this is why you should have a PCP. It's a discussion you have with your PCP.
Right.
If you want to do 3 years, if you want to do annual, it's all you. If you want to do 3 years, but that's why we have guidelines, right? It's called medical practice for a reason.
Right.
We all practice differently, but the guidelines make sure that we're doing the best for the public and not just, okay, I don't feel like doing this. No.
And you know, my late dad, God rest his soul, was a
Oh, I'm
doctor.
sorry.
No, thank you. And you know, at a very young age, he told me I had to start getting annuals once I turned 18. Sexually active or not, he didn't care.
Yeah.
You were gonna start getting your annual exam. So I have been doing this screening for well over 10 years. And, going in, for my annual this year, and my doctor tells me, well, you've never had an abnormal pap, you no longer have to do this every year. And I'm like, what?
That wasn't what my dad told me.
She explained, and she explained to me and said, the reason we do this is because sometimes we tend to, I forgot the word, the term she used, but apparently, in other words, she was saying, they could start treating. If they find something small or something that, like preventative care that they would give if someone's had one before or something looked off that could actually, I wish it could cause a little bit of damage that's unnecessary, with the scraping of the cervix and things like that. And so they're trying to avoid all of that. And I said, I understand. And I appreciate what you guys do as doctors, but can I please have my pap smear? I wanted it, and she said, you know what, you're paying for it, you got it.
Yeah.
You don't have to. If you choose and you insist, we'll do it for you. So I still enjoy my yearly paps. I know I sound like an addict, but I need my annual exam every year because, I've seen a lot of young girls, young, 20s and early 30s that, maybe have had a little pain, maybe at some point in their life they've had like PID or something and thought nothing of it, or like a UTI and just, and then a couple years down the line, here they go, finding out they're stage 3, have cervical cancer. I know someone who passed away from it at a very young age,
Wow.
So I'd rather catch it, even if it's barely a speck, just catch it so that we can start working on it.
And now that we see younger people dying or falling ill of something that we probably never heard of, right? What are the risk factors of this, women's health thingy, fibroids, cancer, all of these things? If they're not detected early enough, what are the risk factors? What are the things that could possibly happen to them or go wrong?
Before we answer that, do you mind if I want her to talk about something that I think is very important, and then we can talk about the risk factors of it?
Oh, please.
Which goes back to fibroids. Fibroids for African women has become a very, very big and common thing. That and PCOS. We tend to see that a lot. You know how you have those, and it seems to be more with the Eastern tribes that we see with PCOS. You have those aunties that you say, oh, they have hair growing on their chin and stuff like that. For the longest, we never realized that was a symptom of something.
Is it?
Yeah. So if you don't mind, could you please expatiate a little bit more on PCOS and fibroids with African women?
Okay, definitely. First of all, I'm a family practitioner. I'm not a gynecologist,
right?
But I'll do my best.
Give us whatever you got.
So I'll give you like the bare minimum. So I think one common risk factor for all of us is obesity.
Okay.
Obesity in the sense that in back home, if you're a little plump, it's actually a good thing, right? It's a good thing. And hormones, which would be estrogen, progesterone, are actually made. The base product is from fat.
Right.
So the more you have, the more you're able to produce. So that just being said, so fibroids, it is common in African descent, not just Nigerians or just African descent, or actually non-white women. It's more common. There hasn't been like a specific gene linked to it or anything of that nature. Other things that put you at risk for it would be exposure to estrogen. Okay. So in the past, some birth control pills with just estrogen before we realized, oh no, that's increasing our risk of breast cancer, increasing our risk for fibroids. But now they're better. We're having progesterone in them, and so estrogen exposure, obesity or increased BMI is a risk factor. What else? I would just say it's not one of those things where you can be like, oh, if you have this, you're gonna have this.
Right.
It's just somehow very common in non-white women. But the thing is, it is a tumor. It's just benign, meaning it's not cancerous, right? Not necessarily hereditary. You might have a few people having it in your family. We haven't found a gene that can say, okay, this is, you're going to get fibroids, you're not going to get fibroids. So risk factors, they're not, I wouldn't pinpoint one thing. It's just things that we've noticed. I'll say it's more things that we've noticed to be common in people that have fibroids. Not to say that someone with a normal BMI cannot have fibroids.
Right.
They can totally have fibroids. But more importantly would be, what are the things to look out for, basically, to say, okay, I have a fibroid. Now, granted, many people would have fibroids and be asymptomatic, especially if they're small fibroids, right? You wouldn't even know you have fibroids.
Asymptomatic mean?
You wouldn't know you have fibroids, no symptoms. The larger your fibroid, or the position of your fibroid, meaning where your fibroid is. So is it actually in the cavity of the womb, or is it out? That would actually determine your symptoms. So for instance, you know how the uterus is kind of between the bladders here, that's why pregnant people keep peeing when it grows, and then you have the colon behind it. So if you have an external one and it's big enough to kind of like compress on your colon, you can actually have constipation. Which, who would think fibroids? Exactly. If it's big enough and it's anterior, meaning in the front, and it's on, pressing on your bladder, you can have frequency.
Yeah. And
But you wouldn't connect it, right? But if it's more, the ones that usually know that, okay, I have a fibroid or something's going on, right? It's usually when it's in the muscle of the uterus itself, because those are the ones that usually cause bleeding. Because
the inconsistent menstrual cycles, right?
Yes. So it's usually, it doesn't really affect the menstrual cycle itself. It just, you have heavier bleeding. Heavier and longer.
Okay.
Than usual. And the age range is usually from like 30s to 60s is where, because, I mean, the good news is fibroids do regress, but after menopause.
Oh, really?
Remember what we said, it is estrogen fed. Wow. So once you hit menopause, you switch your fibroid and you get a hot flash.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Interesting.
Women, wow.
No, y'all are special. We've always known that. Women are just special. Now that you've talked about all of these things, I know you did say this is the Colon Cancer Awareness Month. Let's just touch lightly on that, and then we can talk about preventative methods that you may have, and treatment options that are out there for, especially again, Africans. Yes.
All right. Yeah. So colon cancer. Also one of those cancers that we do have a screening tool for, that we can catch at an early stage. One of those cancers that people hate the screening. It's almost like, people, come on, right? I understand. A colonoscopy can be tedious. You have to go for your consultation first, talk to the doctor. They give you this big old jug to go drink because you have to clean out. People just don't understand it. I don't want to drink this. The cleaner your colon is, the colon is like a tube. Think about it like a hose, garden hose or something, or maybe your sink. If it's clogged, if I put a camera in there, I can't see. The whole purpose of the colonoscopy is to look at the walls of your colon, right? Are you having any changes in the cell? That's what we call precancerous changes. Are you having any polyps? These are things that we take out, we biopsy to kind of be like, oh, okay, we have to monitor you closer, right? Most people will get a colonoscopy. If it's clean, you get a 10-year ticket, right? I mean, only unless something else comes up. You start to have blood in your stool, which is a sign of colon cancer, or the shape of your stool. People are like, I don't look at my stool. Yes, you know. It changes. You should, right?
I heard
you
that
should look
years
at the
ago,
color. You should look at the shape. I mean, granted, when you change your diet, if you eat more veggies today, it's going to be a little more pale.
Stool is poop, by the way.
Oh, pardon me. What do we say in Nigeria? Poo poo.
Poo poo.
Yeah. Poo poo. So I digress a little, but colon cancer has a screen. It's called a colonoscopy. There are other methods out there. I usually don't advise my patients to do this, except maybe they can't go under anesthesia, because you do have to go under anesthesia for your colonoscopy. We do have Cologuard now, or what we call the blood test, occult blood test.
Okay.
So people like that better. They put some stool in there, they send it in, blah blah blah. It has its own, efficacies, but these are things you discuss with your doctor.
Is it as effective?
Research has shown it to be as effective, but I mean, it is a new product out there, so I mean, it's been there for years, but still. I always advise my patients, at least for the first one, get a colonoscopy. Okay. Get a clean ticket, right? And then we can think about maybe subsequent ones, do something else. But that being said, we don't start screening for colon cancer until the age of 50. Okay. Except you have a family history of colon cancer. And then we start screening you 10 years prior to the age that person was diagnosed.
Oh, really? That's how it's calculated?
Correct.
Okay.
So, for instance, heaven forbid you have a dad that is diagnosed at 50. We start screening you at 40. Things like that. So, you don't have to worry about it until you're 50, except you have anemia, and most times it's caught in your annual. I do a blood test. Why is your hemoglobin low? I can't find where you're bleeding from. That can buy your colonoscopy. Okay. Your stool changes, like I said, or you actually see vivid blood in your stool. Those are the things that can buy you an early colonoscopy.
Okay.
So are there, our diets as Africans is quite different from, what we get here. Are there fruits or meals that can be taken to prevent, or even when you discover that you have any of these cancers or the symptoms, to kind of eradicate or at least minimize the effect on your body? Yeah,
so definitely it's been shown that a high fiber diet does prevent colon cancer. Low dose aspirin, but it's for a certain population.
Fiber diet, you mean?
Fiber means like your veggies. Like you can do your efo, you can do your spinach, you can do, whatever veggies, you can do your kale. But the thing is, the same diet that helps for X usually helps. We all should just have a low carb, low fat, high fiber diet.
Which
in general,
very difficult.
It is exactly. So because we eat all that meat, red meat.
Thanks to my wife, right?
No, but we eat a lot of meat. We eat a lot of carbs. A lot.
Yes.
Plus, I grill a lot anyway.
But red meat is also
because your body can't really.
How
break
about
it down.
when you talk about red meat? Goat meat is red meat.
Goat meat is red meat,
but it's better.
So they say.
So they say. Assume.
No, never ever restrict, because if you restrict, you're not going to follow through.
Right.
So that's why we say minimum. Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I learned so much. I'm gonna go sit with my wife and daughters, and I'm like, girls,
you need to start.
You need your HPV vaccine.
You know what it is, But thank you so much, Dr.
My pleasure.
It was nice having you on here, and we hope to have you come back soon, because we need to educate our people. Health is, they say, is wealth, right? And before we let you go, we would love for you to share your information, if you're willing to, of course, to our audience, because one of the things we'll learn is Africans are much more comfortable with their kind, not because of race or anything, but because they feel like the doctor can relate better with them, as regards their, upbringing, their background, and you can relate. You can tell why certain things are going certain ways, and you can best prescribe what will help them. If you don't mind, you can, but we already know your name. We will Google your name. And believe me, if they call to ask me, I will share your information with them.
I'm right there in Methodist Sugarland, right there by First Colony Mall is where my office is. I'm with the primary care group. I don't have a private office, so don't just say, I want to sit on therapy. Okay, it's a process. It's a process, but I think just a last word of advice, African parents, please, 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 share your health history with your children, it goes a long way to help them prevent certain things. I know we are very, I don't have that in Jesus' name, but I know. So, and we don't tell our children what's actually going on. Please be open. Family history goes a long way in your plan of care.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Okwe. We
pleasure.
really appreciate this. It's been so informative. I know I've learned a lot. And hopefully very soon we can have you back here with us. Come join us.
Yeah, of course. I'll be
Maybe
here.
when we talk about men's health.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe talk about men's
So
health.
maybe I can, not now, we'll talk about that. Well, thanks a whole lot.
so
My
much.
And we
pleasure.
hope to have you back.
All right. Take
It
care.
was a good time with Dr. Okwe, and we will be right back with more.
See
Thank
you
you.
soon.
Welcome back, and we hope you've been enjoying our segments so far. Last week was our International Women's Day, which was on the 8th of March 2019. So we decided to honor our top 10 African women in the diaspora doing great things. Number 1, Edidiong Obot, cultural influencer, international ambassador of Nigerian Student Fashion and Design Week, director of events for the Bobsled Federation of Nigeria, also the founder of Akwa Ibom Young Professionals, host of its all-time talk show on our show here, and co-host of Fresh Perspective TV show. Number 2, Annie Usoro, an attorney and owner of Usoro and Associates, registered nurse, and owner of St. Agnes Home Health Care, founder of Usoro Foundation, and a cancer survivor. Number 3, we have Shakira Dennis, outreach coordinator for Assistant District Attorney Kim Og, and facilitator of Ignite Texas. And number 4, Dr. Lola Atobaejun, owner of Next Level Smiles. Number 5, Dr. Sheung Adigun, a chiropractor, Nigeria's historic women's bobsled global ambassador, first African summer and winter Olympian. Number 6, Mercy Jordan, captain of 2005 International Basketball Federation FIBA Africa Championship for Women, winning team Nigeria. Number 7, Michelle Ngome, founder of Line 25 Consulting and founder of African American Marketing Association, a board member of Texas West African Chamber of Commerce. Number 8, we have Lulu Akelochik Mapande, fashion influencer, a registered nurse, fashion blogger, New York Fashion Week stylist, and a guest host on Houston Live fashion segments. Number 9, we have Tokini Ibikuro Bilaye Benibo, founder of Lizadora Beauty, bodybuilder, and a trainer. Number 10, we have Zainab Usoro, co-founder of Zainab and Matthew Create, textile designer and founder of AMAO. Shout out to all our women. We love you. We appreciate you. Keep doing big things in the diaspora and keep bringing us to the light in a positive way. Thank you once again to all our women. I'm a love. I did not forget you. You are my ace woman. And to the rest of you, we wish you a happy International Women's Day. I know it's past, but we have to wish you that. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, my name is Kola, and we'll see you soon. Welcome back. We hope you enjoyed that last segment with Dr. Okwe. Ada, I learned so much.
I know, she was so
She
informative.
was on point. I mean, now it's just time to, take your health
Seriously.
seriously.
Very.
Well, anyway, we hope also that you enjoyed the last few segments. The health segment was great with Dr. Okpe, of course. The sports segment, the fashion and beauty entertainment with Fauzi, and of course with us, Ada, my favorite girl in the studio.
Oh, thank you.
And always, anyway. So we hope you join us next time, and don't forget to tune in to our channel, Afrocentric Television, and forget not to watch our show, My Community, where we talk about Africans in the diaspora and bring to light all the positive things we do here in the diaspora.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Until next time, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also follow us on Instagram at Afrocentric Television or Afrocentric TV, and like us on Facebook. All
The
right.
Afrocentric is with a K.
Afrocentric
like
with a K.
Cola.
Yes.
Right.
Like cola.
Like Cola.
Like cola.
Like Cola, you know.
All right. Well, until next time, have a good one.
We'll see you again. Take care.